Immersed Robot.
Hello everyone, welcome to Immersed Robot again. And so update 3 of Elite Dangerous Odyssey dropped earlier today, so I went in to take a look at the patch notes and there was quite a long list of fixes and patches in there, quite an impressively long list actually, and there were some optimizations mentioned in that list. So I was sort of thinking about doing a side-by-side comparison with update 2, the same as I did between update 1 and update 2 last week, but I did temper my expectations in terms of how much performance improvement were going to be made in update 3, mainly based on the roadmap that was published on the Elite forums last week. Because on that roadmap they did say that although incremental performance improvements would come throughout these updates in June, but it really seemed like they were waiting to get close to the console launch when they could really focus in on performance improvements and optimizations from that front. So I sort of tempered my expectations after that roadmap was published, and I wasn't expecting too much, and that's really what I got in terms of performance with this update. So the footage I'm showing here is footage of update 3 which I recorded earlier today, and this was footage that I was going to do a side-by-side comparison, as I say, with update 2, but there wasn't really any improvements made, or very minor improvements here and there that made it so that I really didn't feel like it was worth me making a side-by-side comparison in this particular case. But I'll leave the footage running just so you can see how the game is running after update 3 on my system. Again, my PC specs, my full system specs are in the description to this video, and I'm running the game on VR medium settings at the moment. But I'll just leave this running while I talk briefly about my position on Elite Dangerous Odyssey at the moment. So I'll start off on a positive, and aside from the performance issues that I'm having and many people are having, it does look like they are progressing through some of these issues that the game had on launch as they progress through these updates. And that many fixes line that was famously in the roadmap published last week, it does seem to be being held to in most ways, and you can read down these patch notes and see that there are quite a few things, all these niggling things that people are complaining about, gradually being worked through. So that's a good thing, and they are moving in the right direction with that. But the issues around this really are, being primarily a VR player of Elite Dangerous, the performance issues can't be ignored for me, and it's having the biggest impact on my overall experience of Odyssey at the moment. And certain sections are borderline unplayable, and I'll probably try to show a little bit of the footage of the SRV in here as well. When I'm on Callisto near a settlement, the performance is really poor. Now, I'm running Steam VR super sampling at 150% here, and I am otherwise on VR medium settings within the game, and you could point to that as saying, well, you need to lower super sampling down to 100%, and yeah, I've tried that. I've tried many things actually. I've even tried lowering settings right down in game, and the performance issues, although better, they never get to the point even approaching where they were previously, and it does dampen my overall experience. And it's just the unfortunate state of where Odyssey is at the moment, I guess. Now, look, don't get me wrong, I have confidence that Frontier will eventually rectify all of these issues, and perhaps we won't get performance like we had at the end of Horizons, but perhaps we can get close to that point, and that's really what I'm waiting for. I just want perhaps more consistent performance is really what I'm waiting for in these updates. Now, I'm confident that they will get there sooner or later, but this is really, I'm just speaking about my position on Odyssey at the moment as I make this video. The other thing, primarily being a VR player, is the on-foot sections really aren't appealing to play in VR at the moment. That 2D display in front of me, I thought I'd still be able to get some kind of enjoyment out of them, exploring these settlements, these stations, and doing the missions on foot, but it's really not an appealing experience in virtual reality at the moment doing it that way, and I expected to get over it, but I simply can't. Now, I've tried the vanity cam while on foot in Elite Dangerous Odyssey, and if you do that in virtual reality, then you will get a full stereoscopic 3-dimensional full virtual reality view of the world, and it's a great thing to try, but it gives you a taste of how close it would be if they would just implement some kind of basic VR functionality within the game. Now, I've read the comments on some of my previous videos and some of the comments on various forums as well, where people say they've got other things to focus on at this moment in time, and I agree with that. Okay, so I'm not desperate for the on-foot sections in virtual reality. I think it's a shame that they've overlooked that at the moment, but I'm willing to wait. You know, if they can get to that at some point in the future, then I'm willing to wait for that, and I perfectly understand that they've got bigger things to sort out at the moment with Odyssey, so I'll leave that to one side for the moment. The UI issues in Elite Dangerous as well, I don't have as much of a problem with them as many other people do. I quite like the clean look of the new UI, and I don't mind sort of working my way around and trying to sort of relearn some of the things that I used to do with ease in the old system. But I do think that things definitely need changing in the UI, and for people that are probably more experienced with Elite than me, when they speak to this, it's a bigger issue for those kinds of people, and I do definitely think that some of the lost functionality that is in the new UI that was, you know, readily available in the old one does need restoring, or at least changing things up slightly. So it's a bit of another negative, but not so much one that I'm focusing on. The UI I can sort of get over at this point, but yeah, I can understand the issues that people have with it too. So all of these things, and primarily the fact that I'm a VR Elite player, means that it's sort of leading me to a decision where I will probably just go back to playing Horizons when I play just in my own time and I want to play some Elite Dangerous, at least for the moment. Now, of course, I'll keep a very close eye on the updates, and I'll go in and try every update as it drops, and every improvement that comes along the way, I will try them and just see how these changes are progressing. And perhaps I'll make videos over the next few weeks about them as well, just to give you some of my thoughts. And you know, if there is a big performance improvement in one of these updates, then of course I'll make a side-by-side comparison to show some of those improvements too. But overall, I think I'm comfortable with just leaving Odyssey to one side. The on-foot sections in VR aren't really appealing to me in the way that I expected them to be, and I just feel like I'll probably just enjoy the game far more if I go back to playing Horizons for a while and just wait for Odyssey to, excuse the pun, find its feet perhaps. I just feel like it needs to bed in, let the developers resolve all of these issues, because the game, by all accounts, it seems like it was released a little bit too early, and just give them a little bit more time, and hopefully when I come back to it properly and I play it for fun again, then it will be a better overall experience. And fingers crossed, you know, they will implement full VR to the on-foot sections too at some point. But those are just some of my very quick thoughts on this. Let me know what you think in comments, especially if you too are a VR player of Elite Dangerous. How are you finding the on-foot sections? You know, I'm sure there are people out there who can perfectly happily play those on-foot sections on that 2D display in front of them, and it's not really an issue. And I, you know, again, I didn't think it would be that big an issue for me. I thought I'd be able to transition quite easily between them, but I'm just taking out of the experience whenever I do that, unfortunately. So that's where I am at the moment. But that's pretty much it for this video. Sorry for rambling on about this subject again, and I'm sure there's plenty of you out there that disagree with some of my thoughts, and that's okay. Let me know where I'm going wrong in comments. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Please consider supporting Immersed Robot on Patreon, or joining the Discord, or following me on Twitter, or better yet, all of the above. Links in the description below.